They told me diabetes would change everything. No more sweets, no more freedom with food, just bland meals and bitter mornings. But let me tell you a story. It was the spring after my 74th birthday when I was diagnosed. I'll never forget the look in my doctor's eyes, the gentle caution in her voice. She said, "You have type 2 diabetes, but it's manageable, with the right choices." That word, manageable, felt like a challenge. I walked out of that office with my life in a bag, a blood glucose meter, a pamphlet on carbohydrates, and a prescription I wasn't ready to fill. But I also walked out with a plan, not just to manage diabetes, but to live fully with it. And the first surprise? Fruits. Sweet, juicy, natural fruits, some of the very things I thought I had to say goodbye to forever, were actually part of my healing. Yes, sweet fruits, the right ones. Today I want to share with you 5 incredibly sweet and common fruits that don't spike your blood sugar, but instead help fight diabetes. This isn't just theory. This is lived experience backed by real science. So if you're a senior, like me, and you've been told to stay away from fruit, hold on, because what I discovered might just change the way you eat and the way you feel. Let's begin with the first fruit, one you've likely enjoyed since childhood. 1. Blueberries, nature's tiny healers. I used to think blueberries were just good for pancakes and muffins, but these little blue gems? They're warriors. Blueberries are packed with anthocyanins, the compounds that give them that deep royal hue. But these aren't just for color. Anthocyanins help your body improve insulin sensitivity and reduce oxidative stress. In simple terms, they help your cells respond better to insulin, and that means more stable blood sugar. One Harvard study found that eating just 3 servings of blueberries a week was associated with a 26% lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes. And here's the best part. They're sweet. So sweet that when I freeze them and eat a handful on a hot day, it's better than ice cream. No guilt, no crash, just real nourishment. But there's more. Blueberries are low on the glycemic index, just around 53. That means they release sugar slowly into your bloodstream. No spikes, no crashes. What changed for me? Instead of snacking on crackers or cookies, I started keeping a small container of fresh blueberries nearby. And you know what I noticed? My morning numbers started coming down. Not overnight, but steadily. Small habits, sweet rewards. 2. Apples, the fruit of steady blood sugar. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. I thought it was just a saying, but then I learned how powerful apples truly are for blood sugar regulation, especially for seniors. Here's the truth. Apples contain soluble fiber, especially in the skin. And this fiber slows digestion, which means sugars enter your bloodstream more gradually. 1 medium apple has about 4 grams of fiber, and that's enough to make a real difference in your glucose levels after meals. But there's another secret: polyphenols. These natural plant compounds help reduce sugar absorption in your gut. They also stimulate insulin production and improve insulin sensitivity. So, what does this mean for someone like you or me? It means biting into a crisp apple isn't just satisfying, it's therapeutic. I started eating half an apple before dinner, sometimes with a bit of cinnamon, no sugar, just the spice, and guess what? It helped reduce my post-meal sugar spikes. More importantly, it brought back a joy in food I thought I had lost. There's something about the crunch of a fresh apple that makes you feel alive, and for a senior managing diabetes, feeling alive is everything. 3. Grapes. Sweet, portable, powerful. Now, I know what you're thinking. Grapes? Aren't they too sugary? I thought the same, but I was wrong. Yes, grapes are sweet, and yes, they contain natural sugar. But here's the key: portion and phytonutrients. Grapes, especially red and black varieties, are loaded with resveratrol, a powerful compound that improves insulin sensitivity and reduces inflammation. One study published in the journal Nutrition Research showed that resveratrol supplementation in diabetic patients significantly improved blood glucose control. Now imagine getting that benefit from real, fresh grapes. I started eating 12 to 15 grapes as a mid-morning snack. Just enough to feel the sweetness, just enough to lift my energy. Not so much that it spikes my sugar. Grapes also have a glycemic index of around 50 to 59, depending on the type. That's still moderate and very manageable if you're watching your portion. And here's a little tip I learned from my granddaughter: freeze them. Frozen grapes are like nature's candy, and when that afternoon craving hits, I reach for 4 or 5 frozen grapes instead of processed snacks. Tiny changes, big difference. 4. Pears, the forgotten fruit with hidden power. Pears often sit quietly in the background next to the more glamorous apples and bananas. But don't overlook them. Pears are high in soluble fiber and flavonoids, plant compounds that have been shown to lower the risk of diabetes. One study from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that increased pear and apple intake was associated with a reduced risk of type 2 diabetes. But there's something else I want to share. Pears are gentle on your stomach, on your digestion, on your blood sugar. Their glycemic index? Just 38 to 42. That's impressively low. And when they ripen just right, soft, juicy, almost dripping, they taste like dessert. I started slicing up half a pear with a sprinkle of chia seeds and a dollop of plain Greek yogurt. That became my nighttime ritual. Instead of cookies or sweet cereal, I ended my day with a bowl that satisfied my sweet tooth and kept my blood sugar stable through the night. It's not deprivation, it's elevation. It's not punishment, it's permission to eat well and live better. 5. Strawberries, sweet, safe, and blood. Sugar-friendly. Of all the fruits, strawberries might be my favorite. Why? Because they remind me of childhood, of summer mornings in the garden with my mother, of red fingers, laughter, and sun-warmed sweetness. Strawberries are rich in vitamin C, fiber, and antioxidants, particularly ellagic acid and anthocyanins. These help reduce insulin resistance and lower inflammation, 2 key factors in managing diabetes. Even more encouraging? Their glycemic index is just 41. That means they're not only safe, but helpful. I began eating strawberries with my breakfast, sometimes blended into a smoothie, sometimes sliced over oatmeal, sometimes just on their own. One study published in the British Journal of Nutrition found that eating strawberries reduced the insulin spike after a carbohydrate-rich meal. That's powerful. Imagine that. Eating something naturally sweet that actually helps your body respond to sugar better. That's the kind of news we need more of as seniors. Food as medicine, flavor as healing. Let's pause for a moment. You may be wondering, what about bananas, mangoes, watermelon? Yes, those fruits are sweeter and higher on the glycemic index, but even they can be enjoyed in moderation when paired with fiber, protein, or healthy fats. The real secret isn't just what you eat, but how you eat it. Combining fruits with nuts, seeds, yogurt, or even a slice of whole grain toast helps slow sugar absorption. So instead of cutting out fruits, let's cut out fear. Instead of fearing sweetness, let's learn how to balance it. My blood sugar journey, the turnaround. 3 months after I changed my habits, including these 5 fruits, I went back to my doctor. She looked at my chart. She looked at me, then back at my chart, and said something I'll never forget. "What have you been doing?" My A1C had dropped from 7.9 to 6.3. I had lost 12 pounds. My energy had returned. I was sleeping better, and I was eating better than I ever had. I wasn't surviving diabetes. I was thriving because I learned to eat smart, not less. Here's what I hope you remember. Diabetes doesn't mean the end of sweetness. It just means you get to be more intentional. Blueberries, apples, grapes, pears, strawberries. They aren't just allowed, they're empowering. As a senior, you've earned the right to enjoy your meals, to find joy in flavors, to make your food work for you. Let every bite be an act of healing. Let every snack be a step toward strength. And let every fruit remind you that nature, even in its sweetest forms, can be your greatest ally. Stay strong, stay curious, and stay sweet the right way. Would you like a printable list of these 5 fruits, their glycemic index, and best pairings for blood sugar control? Comment "Fruit Power" below, and I'll make sure we get that to you. And if this helped you, share it with someone you care about, because the sweetness of health is better when shared. Until next time, stay wise, stay well, and remember, healing can be delicious.